Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of the Auto Accident Attorneys Podcast, brought to you by the Auto Accident Attorneys Group, where our motto is simple: we take care of you. Today, I am so blessed to be joined by Mr. David Garrison of the David Garrison Global Real Estate Group with Bolst Real Estate. That's a mouthful. I know you had to drive through the city to get to the burbs. David, thank you so much for joining me.
Absolutely. My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
I have been wanting to have this conversation with you specifically for probably 6, 7, 8 months now. So I appreciate your time. I'm looking forward to learning as much as possible about this. Before we jump into it and I start asking every question, if you don't mind, please introduce yourself and tell us how you came to be who you are and
Absolutely.
what you do.
Happy to. Thank you for having me. I am from Atlanta, Georgia. This is my hometown. I have literally just entered my 22nd year as a realtor and my 12th year as a certified international property specialist. So I am helping a lot of Americans with real estate abroad. And I ended 2025, working in 9 different countries, doing a lot of outbound work. And so I am working with bilateral partners of the National Association of Realtors to ensure that our clients' interests are taken care of as we would here domestically, the same we would do abroad. So a lot of work these days is being done in Spain, of course, Portugal, Mexico. I'm finding myself helping folks with real estate in Morocco, the Philippines, the UK, on and on. So it's really exciting. It's timely, and something that a lot of people are asking for advice for these days.
You mentioned taking care of your clients' interests falls right in line with the theme of our firm.
Indeed.
We take care of you. So just hearing those words is awesome. David, when you were giving me that blurb, which is super impressive, you don't look like you've been doing anything except maybe like taking care of that face for 22 years. So you're aging really well.
Cheers.
You mentioned, you said Spain, of course.
Yes.
What is that is that like the destination right now that you're seeing most of?
Well, I should say, personally, I've had a very international background myself. And so my first international trip when I was 19 years old was to Spain. And I didn't go to some of the obvious places like Barcelona or Madrid. I went straight to the Balearic Islands. And one of my best friends is from Menorca, one of the Balearic Islands. And so I started going there, and I fell in love with it. And so since then, I've been traveling to Spain, and so I have a real passion for the country. These days, of course, many people, they are really having their moment, as other countries are. I think Mexico is similar. They're really having their moment. Last year, Spain was named the Economy of the Year by The Economist. Within the past couple of weeks, Portugal received that honor. So a lot of people are moving there. They have very friendly immigration procedures and policies, and of course, lovely, gorgeous climate along the Mediterranean as well, which I'm very much drawn to. So Spain is a passion project for me, but of course, many people are asking about it.
Economy of the Year, I would have never thought that.
Yeah. After the 2008 financial crisis, the Southern European countries were effectively bankrupt and were experiencing tremendous issues, and they have truly rebounded. And Spain's GDP is outpacing most of Europe, and just really, again, doing great things. Wow. With that, their property values have gone up, demand has gone up, supply is an issue, but there's still a lot of opportunity.
The thought process for me is Americans would save money by moving overseas. Sure. Something like Spain, where they got Economy of the Year, they're recognized by a global magazine. Is there still upside, or are there deals to be found?
Absolutely. I think so. Even though they're seeing in some places like Valencia, a very popular place, leading Spain with appreciation. The past couple of years, maybe 20% year over year appreciation.
Wow.
Going into 26, most people are projecting something more like 4 or 5%. Affordability has become more of an issue, largely for the Spanish population, unfortunately. And so appreciation should slow in 26. A lot of that, again, has to do with affordability and inventory. But there are prices in city centers as compared to what we spend here are still attractive for Americans. But if you're not tied to being in city centers and you go a little further out, the value is tremendous. It really is.
The reason that I wanted to have the conversation with you because I have bouts of anxiety that come and go.
Sure. So many of us do.
Yeah. So initially it was whether it was political unrest or state of the economy, I was like, man, I don't know if this is maybe I should have a second option, a plan B.
Sure.
with two young kids.
Sure.
What do you find most of the people that you deal with and your clients, what's the number one driver for them becoming, I guess, what do you call them, expats?
Expats, sure. Yeah, I mean, you hit the nail on the head, really. I mean, the first thought for most when they think of moving to another country would be escaping politics, right? In many other places, politics are not at the forefront of your daily news cycle or your thoughts or your interactions with others. So that's certainly a driver. But it's also, unfortunate realities that we face here, crime being one, access to healthcare. Is a major issue. When you talk about affordability in other countries, even though some of the more popular places we've seen such a rise in values in real estate, and you will pay higher taxes in some places. If you do the math on healthcare alone, it's incredible. I recently, one of my partners I work with, as some of the services that I can offer my clients. Is an insurance provider in Spain. And so part of, before you get a visa to immigrate there, a non-lucrative or digital nomad or whatever visa, you need to have health insurance. You don't want to be perceived as going over to be a burden on their system. And you have to have a policy in place. So to better inform myself, I recently had got a quote for an insurance policy, full-blown, best policy you could get in Spain that includes electives, procedures, and on, accommodation for your partner if you're in the hospital, everything. It was 260 euros a month.
Wow.
For everything. I'm currently paying $800 for not the best policy.
Yeah.
So if you do that math, you'll go to the hospital, you'll go to the doctor, and you will not see a bill. You won't pay a copay. There are no deductibles. None of that stuff exists.
Where was this was
in Spain. This was in Spain in particular.
Did they have, not to get into political route, but
sure.
Out of my curiosity, because it's the health insurance you're getting, that's privatized medicine, or are you buying into their state system?
That's a private policy.
That's a private policy.
Yeah. Once you gain residency, I believe you could then have access to the government system.
So you buy that private policy at 200 euros a month, 200 change euros a month.
Yep.
But then you have access to any of their physicians and clinics that you're going to need?
Ultimately, yes.
That is incredible.
Yes.
Access to healthcare, escaping crime. Okay.
Yeah. It's a general treatment of, certain groups within our folks within our population who may be looking for more favorable treatment is another reason that people might consider changing locations.
That used to be sort of the beauty of America, or at least what I thought of the idea of America, is if you wanted to lead a certain type of lifestyle, you could go into one of the states that would be, if you want to be more conservative, you go this way. If you want to be more liberal, you go that way.
Right.
If someone like myself, all I had was the idea, I was like, I need a plan B, but I've never thought about leaving the country before. Mm-hmm. What are some, if I wanted to go through that analysis to pick a place, what are some things that I should consider?
Sure. Well, first, I think you need your favorite local global real estate expert. It's back to quality of life for you. What's important to you, I think. Again, for me, or if you are of a certain group within society and you're looking for more favorable treatment or more acceptance, some places are that way. If you are looking for more better access to healthcare, if you're looking for a lower quality of life, if you're looking for better access to higher quality foods with fewer chemicals and that sort of thing, there are places that you can find that. Schooling, access to schooling or elder care can be different in certain places as well.
Have you had clients that have, I'm asking selfish questions at this point,
please,
that have children? Because I imagine the bulk of people that are moving are older, later in life, retirees. I'm wondering, do you see young families moving? If so, is there a particular region in the world that they're going to?
Absolutely are. I would say the majority of the people that I work with, who I help, whether it's on the real estate side or the lifestyle side of partnering them with any number of my vendors, whether that's again mortgage, health insurance, immigration attorneys, real estate attorneys, tax planners, etc. They are either younger tech workers who are untethered from the office, who are taking part in a digital nomad visa, for example. Places that are very friendly for that would be Portugal, Spain, Mexico. So you're seeing a lot of that. And then, yes, there are other folks who are more of the retirement age. And then there's also people who just have the wanderlust and want to, they have the freedom to roam. And so they're looking for that experience.
If schooling was a major issue for a young family, you're going to take kids, what resources are there to compare education systems and schools?
Sure.
Is there anything? Are there websites available? Are there?
Sure, absolutely. There certainly are, and this is something that we've helped our clients with as well, is partnering them with services in the country of their choice to help them locate schools. Same for elder care, as I mentioned, because many people will need that. There are American schools, there are British schools, English-speaking schools if you need that. But we can absolutely help identify and put our clients with the right people to help them better identify schools.
So I'm getting a better idea of the international global agency.
Yeah.
I was going to have questions about, how do you put a team together? I'm assuming that's what you would do, right?
Yes.
Would you get the immigration attorney, a tax consultant, advisors? What's that team look like?
Absolutely. That's a good question. So through my relationships and my affiliations, I spend a lot of time traveling and vetting my partners, and creating and deepening relationships for my international real estate partners. And again, what I call lifestyle consultancy services. I'm a member of a number of international organizations that really help me deepen those relationships and create better ones, including FIABC, which is a Paris-based real estate networking organization that is a tremendous resource for me. The Spanish International Realty Alliance, the Canadian Real Estate Alliance or Association, the Mexican Real Estate Association, as well as the National Association of Realtors. Through all of these organizations, it does allow me, again, to better serve my clients and have these member partners at hand to be able to better help our clients. One example is I had a client come to me here in Atlanta recently who resides in Oaxaca, Mexico, from Atlanta, Mexican resident, wanting to buy a hotel outside of Marrakesh in Morocco. Completely fascinating, right? My bread and butter, what I have done for 22 years, is selling bungalows in Grant Park and East Atlanta, and I love it, and it's wonderful, and I'm grateful for that. But selling a hotel outside of Marrakesh to an American living in Oaxaca is completely fascinating. And through my organization, through FIABC, and through some of my contacts in Portugal and other organizations, I was able to assemble a team, an attorney in Morocco, a local agent to do the on-the-ground work, a lender in Paris who does very favorable lending for expats. We were able to assemble this team, and so far, so good.
That's incredible. So you mentioned the lender. One of the questions I had was, would you recommend the first thing that you do when you identify like your target country and you're starting to search, how important is it to open a bank account overseas first?
Sure. Depending on the country, that is one of the first steps. We can, if you reach out to me, we can kind of give you the rundown on how to get that process started. But traditionally, you would want to, when necessary, apply for a foreign tax ID number. So you'll need that in place so that you can then basically perform any manner of business within the country. Typically a pretty easy process that you can do yourself with some online tools. I personally like to engage an attorney for those procedures as well as any other matters. And for example, when I got they call it the NIE, when I got that in Spain, I engaged an attorney to handle that for me. And it was a simple, easy process. I had the NIE in my inbox by the time I got back to the States.
You were in the country, you were in Spain, you applied for NIE, and by the time you got back, it was registered.
It was registered in my inbox.
What does NIE stand for?
That's a good question. It's a national identification for a foreigner, extranjero. Yeah.
And if you apply, you would foreign tax ID number,
right?
General category. When you go, if I'm traveling in Paris, let's say, I'm only there, I'm supposed to be leaving the country in 2 weeks. While I'm there, can I go and apply for a foreign tax ID, or do I need to get a different type of visa and go particularly for that reason?
Generally speaking, when they are needed, yes, you can. In Spain, for example, you actually go to the police station to apply for that. Now, I will say some things that people will find as they travel or move to another country, some surprises that might pop up would be policy changes or bureaucracy or slow processes. So the policy at one police station in Spain to get your NIE might be a little different than the policy across town at the other police station, or they're just like mañana or that sort of thing. So this is where, I like to have an attorney handle it. And I'll pay a little bit more to have them handle it. It's in their hands, and I know it's going to be done.
So you've been able to identify, or if there's a particular country you don't have one, you know how to identify a local counsel in that country to handle this paperwork.
I also I have a number of attorney partners, one in Valencia that I really like, some in Madrid, and then down in the Costa del Sol, in Marbella and Estepona, who I really like. I tend to go towards those who can handle the real estate side and the immigration as well. So everything under one roof, and that relationship tends to be very valuable.
And is there an order to do it? Well, actually, as I asked that, I think you probably want to get your immigration status first before you buy property and then realize you can't go.
Yeah, it depends on your motivation. But the first thing would be the NIE, then the bank account, and simultaneously consider your visa options. Of course, employment, if you need the employment, something to consider, and that will impact the type of visa you get as well. Some people will buy properties strictly as an investment to experience a return, or maybe sort of as a placeholder for a move at some point in the future. So it really depends on your motivation.
If you're purchasing that, whether it's an investment property or it's let's call it like a safety blanket, security blanket, or whatever.
Sure.
Do you not need any sort? You don't need the foreign tax ID number. You can just buy that as an American, and it's
no. You have speaking about Spain or Portugal, you have to have that tax ID number to basically do any manner of business. So, buying a car or contracting for internet or phone service, that sort of thing, you will have to have the NIE.
Okay, so you do have to register with that country so that you're in their system and they track.
That's right.
Spain specifically, is
Sure.
it the same sort of thing that we experience here? Like you have annual taxes on real property, and it pays for the schools. There's like a school tax, and
it's a lower tax situation. So your cost to buy there is higher. So the cost up front is higher because you're paying the majority of your taxes at once. and then the cost to carry over time is lower. So you'll pay a nominal, what I believe they call the IBI. It's a town hall tax, and so maybe, just to use rough numbers, maybe a 500,000 euro flat, 100 square meter flat in Valencia would have maybe a 400 euro annual tax after you've purchased. But
Wow.
the cost to buy would be, you pay about a 10% tax up front.
I see.
So as an American, if you're mortgaging a property, you have to put down 30% plus your 10% plus another 5 for incidentals. That's commissions, recording fees, legal, and that sort of thing. So you're talking about a 30% plus 14 to 15% cost to buy, but then over time it's lower.
I see.
Yeah.
Are there banks that will provide some sort of pre-approval
Certainly.
for overseas?
Certainly. And we have outstanding partners who can provide that as well. And the upfront pre-approval process is very similar to what you experience here, if not easier. So I like to use brokers, and they will go and negotiate on your behalf to the banks. So, the bigger banks, and then they will present you with several offers. Which ones make the most sense, at what rate, what down payment, and over the term. So yeah, financing is there, and it's very affordable, and their rates are currently incredible. In Europe, for example, Southern Europe, you're talking 2.5% to 3.5% right now.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
I would have not expected that
Yeah.
at all.
Yeah.
Okay. Now I want to get into some subjectivity.
Sure.
What have you identified? Obviously, you're going to be not partisan. You're biased towards Spain.
Of course.
I know that already.
Yes, of course.
But have you identified places? If I came to you and I said, "Listen, I want to buy. I don't really care. I like being anywhere in the world, but I want to buy somewhere that is going to be a plan B for me and pseudo investment." So I'm taking out all of the requisites where, like, I want to be by the ocean, or I want to be in the mountain, or I want to healthcare.
Take out the emotion.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just straight upside.
Sure.
Have you identified any place on the globe where you're like, yeah, if you buy a lot here, it's the next Bitcoin?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Well, in this business, I don't make any promises, but I certainly see trends and see what others are doing. Places that are emerging. Well, Mexico remains number one for American expats, and I think they're having their moment, and there's tremendous opportunity there from the inland to the coast, and you can get phenomenal returns. There are, if you're looking strictly at rental returns, for example, you can get places in some of the suburbs of Valencia in Spain. You can get 10, 12% returns, annual returns. But emerging markets, Albania is starting to trend for low cost and gorgeous beaches. The UAE for no income tax. Panama is another place that has been favorable for retirement visas, very favorable tax policy as well. Greece remains very popular for its golden visa with, I believe, a minimum of a 250,000 euro buy-in. That's sort of a citizenship by investment scheme. You've seen a lot of the golden visas go away, but they still have one.
Golden visa is in reference to you can actually get you could become a citizen of Greece.
It's an accelerated citizenship process through investment. So Spain had one. They ended it last year. You had to spend 500,000 euros to basically get immediate residency and accelerated citizenship. Portugal had one. Portugal still has one, but it's not tied to real estate anymore. So you have to invest into a fund where you would get a nominal return. And these are things we can also help provide access to those funds, or people who attorneys who handle golden visas. And And then there's places like Thailand and Malaysia who are also drawing a lot of interest and experiencing really good appreciation.
This is more of ignorance on my part, but is there a benefit to having citizenship in, let's say, Portugal, as opposed to just having a?
I sometimes think about this myself. Residency is important. I don't know why why one might want to rush to citizenship, other than for that passport. The passport, the second passport that many are rushing to get these days, really anywhere, has become very trendy and critically important to many. So what you will see, and I have seen, are people get, because it has been sort of fast tracked to get to get the passport in Portugal over the past several years. So you'll see people get the Portuguese passport and then move to Germany, or get the Portuguese passport and move somewhere else in Europe. So it's kind of a portal, a channel to gain that access to the Schengen countries.
I see.
Yeah,
I see. The only exposure to immigration I have is American immigration policy and my own family that had great difficulty getting to this country.
Right.
How difficult is it for Americans going elsewhere?
Some of the visas are pretty obtainable, and the threshold for some to qualify for the income threshold are pretty reasonable in my view. Again, using the Portugal or Spain reference point for a digital nomad visa or non-lucrative visa in Spain, that's a visa where you can't work, where you come over, you've got income to justify or to sustain yourself. The monthly threshold, the income for those is quite reasonable, 2,500 euros a month, plus several hundred maybe for a dependent or a spouse. So that's pretty reasonable. I've seen cases of people getting those visas within a matter of a couple of months. I think, and I've heard of people handling them on their own. But again, back to the attorney thing, I think that's money well spent.
Yeah.
And there's no guarantees again, but it's the closest thing you can get to it.
The minimum you said is 20
ish, around there.
2,000 euro?
2,500 to 2,400 euros.
That's it's everything outside of America seems so reasonable.
Yeah. Right. Right. Exactly. We could have another discussion on that one.
A quick sidebar. I went to one of my favorite restaurants at Alinea in Chicago.
Okay.
Chef Grant Ackett's spot. He did a pop-up in Beverly Hills, and I went to his pop-up. The tickets were, I want to say it was like $1,500 without a wine pairing. And then he's doing a global tour. And
cool.
So I went to the pop-up in Beverly Hills, and I was like, you know what? I want to do it again.
Yeah.
So I looked at the one in Tokyo. I was like, man, it's probably going to be really expensive. It was something like $400 for the pop-up in Tokyo. And I was like, this is unbelievable.
Yeah.
So
I love that. We could talk about that as well. And I'm happy to share my restaurant spreadsheets with you as well.
We need to do an episode on that.
Another hobby of ours.
That's really taking care of people. What is the outlook for David Garrison? You've been based in Atlanta and you've got all this exposure. You've been doing the traveling. Does it look like are you going to set up shop elsewhere in the next decade?
I'd say it's all in play. And it's something I've certainly thought about. I will continue to scale this side of the business and grow it, and again, create and deepen more relationships abroad. I would love to be more hands-on in country in Europe for sure. And so I'm continuing to explore opportunities and help people. We will, of course, always help our clients here in Atlanta and throughout the state of Georgia, our hometown, myself and my team. But we'll continue to grow this side of the business, something I'm passionate about and I want to do for the rest of my career.
First off, that's awesome. But I was trying to be sneaky and see if you were going to let on some insight to be like, yeah, I'm going to
I'm out of here.
Albania, for example.
Yeah.
Albania caught me off guard.
Well, to be quite honest, any excuse I can get to grab my passport and take off.
Yeah.
I'm happy to do it, but we've got to make it make sense, and I also want to blend in the business aspect. Again, I will continue to scale this and grow it to help more and more people.
If one of our listeners is interested in purchasing a second property and having a vacation home somewhere, and they don't have a target country identified yet, do you have any recommendations on how best for someone like that to narrow down what to do? Would you? I mean,
again, I think it comes down to motivation and what you're looking for. If it's just strict investment, there's a lot of opportunity for that. And there's financing to be obtained. And in some places there's a need. For example, Portugal, the demand for rentals outweighs supply. They need people to buy, to rent, to service that population. So
in Portugal, they need people to buy property in order to rent it out.
They need investors to offer more supply
do some development and
for tenants. Yeah,
I see.
So yeah, it comes down to the motivation. I will say I hold regular workshops, regular coffee hours where we will just sit down and talk about this and swap ideas. And so if you follow me on social media, you can stay informed on that. And we just sit down, have a coffee, and chat about it. And people talk about where they want to go, what they've been reading, what interests them, and it tends to be a productive hour or so.
That's incredible. We'll tag you in all the posts, but since we're talking about it, how would we find you on social media?
Sure. Instagram is David Garrison Global and davidgarrison.re, and then David Garrison on Facebook and LinkedIn.
Garrison, Garrison. Oh,
correct. Yep.
All right. David, we're getting close to wrapping up, and it makes me sad, but I do have a couple more questions.
Please.
Are there any issues that you've seen your clients I asked a bunch of questions on how to get started. You have a client that has all this stuff figured out, and they identified the target country, they bought the property, and they moved over. Is there anything that you've seen or heard from your clients or dealt with that has been a surprise or something that they never anticipated, and it's one of those things that they didn't know that they didn't know?
Yes, sure. Absolutely. That one comes up quite a bit. Maybe getting a more laid back environment than they'd actually bargained for, which is a good thing. Shop hours in some places may be a little loose, not as advertised. Holidays can become frequent, and you may just not be able to go out to dinner on a Sunday or whatever. Bureaucracy being slower is certainly one. So yeah, these are things, but I think a lot of these surprises tend to be good surprises.
It is funny that we can sit here and bash some of the American way of life, and we were talking about cost and all that, but there's a part of it that we sort of take for granted. Like you just, I didn't even think about that.
Yeah.
With like the store hours being a little bit loose. It's like, maybe I'll open at 9.
Exactly.
Maybe I won't.
Exactly. Another one that has come up and personally come up is, the ability to watch your favorite sports team or your college football team can be a challenge. And people don't often prepare for that. So, finding the right apps, the right ways to log in, or your local expat bar, it can be important for many.
Yeah, I'd love to hear from specialists about things that people don't think about on the front end. So that was a fun little conversation, and it's neat to think about. David, before we wrap up, I'd like to turn the mic over to you. If there was a question that you feel like I should have asked and I didn't ask, or if there's something that you feel is really important for our listeners to know about any topic that's important to you.
Well, thank you very much.
Share with us.
Thank you very much. And again, I very much appreciate you having me today. topic that I could talk about all day. No, when it comes to planning, I think a couple of things that they're just not particularly exciting topics, but ones that are critical would be tax planning and making sure you're working with partners who understand taxation in America and taxation abroad. If you are in the position where you need to sell a property here before you can buy a property there, timing it correctly so that you don't create a taxable event in both countries is critical. I'm not a CPA. I'm a little dangerous with these topics, but I can partner you with CPAs here and there who understand taxation on both sides and can help you plan. Looking at your retirement plans. Some may not be accessible in other countries. And so having a look at them here, if you're moving and you'll be relying on a pension or a 401k or something, getting with your financial planner here to make sure that those are structured properly is critically important. Same for currency conversion. Another piece that people don't often think about is, if you're buying over there, you've got to get your money out of U.S. dollars to euros. Let's use euros, for example. And how do you do that safely at the best cost where the bank's not feeing you to death? Do you do it all at once, or do you do a little bit over time? The U.S. dollar was effectively at parity with the euro a year ago. Until administrations changed, and then it's gone from it was 1.16 this morning. It's anywhere from 1.15 to 1.17 on any given day now. So the dollar's lost a lot of value. Many people will argue that you need to move little bits of money every month, regardless of where the rate is. But planning that effectively and working with someone who can with a currency conversion company who will do that and work in many different currencies is really important to save you money and do it safely.
Incredible. So much to digest. I'm excited that you are a resource available to us and our listeners.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure.
If you guys are looking to perhaps find a second home, whether it's in Atlanta or across the globe, make sure to reach out to David. We'll tag him here. If you're in an auto accident, reach out to me. My tag is here. I'll get you a settlement so that you can buy a home in Portugal. If you guys can please share this episode. I hope you got something out of it. Mom, I know that you were listening to the whole thing as always, so I love you very much. I'll see you guys next week. Take care.